Are you a photographer or videographer looking for a better backup solution? Do you have your client's data on external hard drives just sitting around? It's not backed up. Anything can happen. If that's the case, we're talking about that today. The best backup strategy for photographers and videographers. Today we're going to be talking about backing up your client's files and making sure that it's protected. You know, as photographers and as creatives, sometimes we just don't think about those important things as backing up your client's files. That is one of the most important things that you can do as a creative, because if you don't have the data, then you don't have anything to show. But we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about backing up your client's files. We're going to talk about the best process to back up your client's files and the best software to use. We're going to talk about that as well, because there's many different pieces of software out there that you can use, but what's the best one for you? What's the best one for photographers, videographers, creatives, artists, all of those people alike? What do we need to do in order to make sure that we have our files backed up and off-site? Something that we don't even have to think about, and we just do it every time when we get back from a shoot or from some type of event. We have our data backed up. It's backed up the same night. I'm going to go over my strategy. I'm going to go over how I do it and the process that I use. I'm going to go over my old process, and then I'm going to go over the new process. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. So right now you're looking at my desktop. My computer consisted of 5 external hard drives and 1 main backup hard drive. And eventually you get tired of buying hard drive after hard drive after hard drive. I know I did anyway. So I set out to find a better process. So my old process was here, and I had this working drive, I had a finished drive, and I had a Dropbox drive and a video drive. Now I'll explain to you my philosophy in backing up. That way I saved space and made use of good space. So this working drive was when we came back from a wedding. All of the files were uploaded to this drive here. When the JPEGs were completed, all of the JPEGs went here to Dropbox, and all of those completed deliverable files went from this 4 terabyte drive and was backed up to the cloud up here. All of the raw files that we kept, you know, at a wedding, we usually do between 6,000 to 8,000 images on an 8-hour day. And usually looking at about 500 gigabytes worth of data, somewhere around there. So we would upload all of those files to here. And then all of the deliverables went here to this 4 terabyte Dropbox drive. And these were the delivered files. And the delivered files usually were around 600, 700, 800, sometimes even 1,000 images, depending on how much we caught during the day and how much was involved. You know, something like a first look or something like that is usually 900 images easily, because of all of the interactions with the couple and, you know, all of the things that go on during a first look. So so we delivered, let's just say, from a 6,000 image wedding, we delivered 700 images. Those 700 delivered files went here to this drive, and this drive was backed up to Dropbox. If we had 6,000 images that we shot, we delivered 700, then, you know, 5,300 of those images we didn't use. So we discarded of those images, of the 5,300, and the 700 raw files were stored here on this finished drive, right there. So all the raw files that we would need from any wedding at any time would be stored here. This drive would be free for new work that came in, and all of our delivered files would be here. All of the JPEGs, those 700 JPEGs were stored here, and those 700 JPEGs were backed up to Dropbox. This working drive, 4 terabyte finished drive, and this video drive were all backed up to this 8 terabyte local hard drive here. Now, if something was to ever had happened, this 8 terabyte local hard drive was never backed up off-site. And that's where the problem lies. You get to a point as a wedding photographer where you realize you just have so many hard drives. I mean, you got a hard drive for this, a hard drive for that, and then when they start to get full, you start to buy more and more and more and more and more, and before you know it, you got 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 external hard drives all connected to your computer some kind of way, and then you gotta buy different dongles to connect them all and all of that. So I wanted to get away from all of that. So I set out to find a better process. So in short, my process was broken. As a wedding photographer, I want to make sure that I have all of my clients' files. I don't want to play around with that. I want to be able to just come in, upload the stuff, and I know that it's backed up already. I don't have anything to worry about. So what I did was I started to do some research to find out this better process. And I ran into something called a NAS, Networked Attached Storage. So I'm going to show you what that process looked like. A NAS is connected to your network. It's not connected to your computer. So you connect it to your router, and then every computer inside your home or every computer on your network has access to this NAS. So what I did was I bought a NAS that ran a RAID array. RAID is redundancy array of independent disk. That way, all of the data is on every drive that's inside that NAS. I know that sounds confusing, but if you don't know what it is, I'm going to do my best to explain it to you. So let me show you what that looked like. Meet my 16 terabyte Synology NAS. Now this NAS box here is a DS418 Synology NAS. This NAS houses 4 hard drives, 4 NAS hard drives. You can't just put any hard drive in here. It has to be a hard drive specifically rated for a NAS because they have to be a certain speed and a certain type, and they have to be able to run consistently all day, every day. So in this NAS, I'm running 4 terabyte hard drives, 2 Western Digital and 2 of the Seagate drives. So as you see, I only have 3 folders now. A cold storage, a hot storage, and a drop storage folder. These 3 folders here takes the place of everything that I had here, except the 2 terabyte time machine, which is still connected to my iMac because that backs up the iMac itself. So every computer in my home, my MacBook Pro, my iMac, my wife's MacBook Pro, and my daughter's MacBook Air are all connected to this 16 terabyte NAS via the network that we're all connected to. So don't forget, this is not connected to the computer in any way. It's connected to the network. So if my wife has files, if she's working on something, she can store all of her files here on her own drive. My daughter can store all of her school files here. I can store anything that I'm working on my MacBook here, and my iMac also can store all the data here. All that data is backed up to an 8 terabyte external hard drive. Since we're not using 16 complete terabytes right now, this 8 terabyte is enough to back up all of what we have, including these folders here. Off-site backup solution. is this complete NAS here is being backed up off-site to Backblaze. This process is much better than this process here. I don't have to buy any more hard drives unless I run out of space. I don't have to worry about if this hard drive fails or this hard drive fails. I don't have to worry about any of those things, even though they were backed up local. But if the local backup failed, then I was screwed. Or let's just say some type of natural disaster happened. If a natural disaster happens, and let's just say a flood or a tornado or something like that, and any of this stuff here that lives inside the house, any of that is ruined, or it gets flooded in a flood or something like that, or swept away in a tornado, I'll never see any of this stuff again, and all of my clients' files are backed up on this stuff. The only thing I would have is deliverable files that were backed up to Dropbox. But if it was something that I was working on at the time, my couples wouldn't have those precious moments that I was there to capture. With this process here, I don't have to worry about that. I still have everything here. Everything is all encompassed in this one 16 terabyte NAS. If one drive fails, the other 3 hard drives can repair that drive. The only thing I gotta do is install one new hard drive. And furthermore, let's just say we had a flood or something like that. Everything is backed up off-site to Backblaze. Everything is backed up off-site. So in protecting data and making sure that you have redundancy, I want to tell you about the 3-2-1 rule. The 3-2-1 rule is 3 different copies of your data on 2 different mediums and 1 being off-site. With the process that I'm using right now, I'm fulfilling that need. So I'm making sure that I have 3 different copies of my data. I have 2 different mediums, 1 being an external hard drive and 1 being on a cloud, and then 1 being off-site, and that off-site one is on Backblaze. So if anything happens, I'm covered. So I do all of this just to make sure that my client's data is protected. I'm not worrying about anything. I come in from a wedding, I upload the files to the NAS, and then the NAS is backed up every night, and I don't even have to think about it. It's set up to back up every night at 10 p.m. So at 10 p.m. that backup starts to happen, and then in the morning when I wake up, I get an email saying that the backup was successful. And there you have it. I know it's safe, and I can start working on those clients' files, not worrying about if anything happens, because I know that's backed up off-site. And furthermore, if I wanted to encrypt those files and back them up off-site, I can do that as well, because the backup process has an encryption tool that I can encrypt the files and then send them to Backblaze if I wanted to. I don't do that because I don't think it's necessary, and it takes up more data and more space. But all of those are possibilities that I have with this NAS. Let me tell you a little bit about RAID. RAID stands for Redundancy Array of Independent Disk. What that means is you have all of your data on multiple drives. And those multiple drives all have the same data on it. In this NAS that I have here, I have 16 terabytes of space, but only 10 terabytes is usable. And that's because the other 6 terabytes is used for redundancy, just in case one of those drives fail. So if a drive fails, only thing I have to do is order a new hard drive, insert that hard drive in the Synology NAS, and then the other 3 hard drives will start to rebuild the one. Even if I was to lose 2 of my disks, if disk 3 and disk 4 failed, disk 1 and disk 2 can repair disk 3 and disk 4. So the redundancy is there. If anything happens, each drive has the data. So I don't have to worry about anything. Whereas though in the other process, I didn't run it like that. And I know that you can run RAID on external hard drives and things like that. But what happens when you start to run out of space? You know, on a 4 terabyte hard drive, what happens? You know, it's just too much to continue to buy hard drive after hard drive after hard drive. In this process that I'm using here, only thing I have to do is buy one new drive, put that drive in, and it starts to get rebuilt from the other data. And I don't have to continue to buy hard drive after hard drive after hard drive because I have 10 terabytes of my own space. Yeah, we go out and make great images. Yes, we make our couples happy and make them cry and all of those things. And these memories is something that they'll have forever. But if we don't have that data, we don't have nothing to show. So make sure that we're protecting our clients' files, make sure we're protecting our clients' data. That way we can have happy customers and they can reference and they can refer us to someone else and we can continue to be in business. This is one of the most important things we can do. We gotta protect data, not only our clients' data, but our own data as well. So if you got something from this, let me know below in the comments. If you wanna let me know your backup policy, I would like to see it, how you do it, what your policy is. It may be the way that I used to do it, or maybe how I do it now. I'm curious to know. If you have any questions around how I set this up or how I did this, let me know in the comments. Maybe we'll create a video in the future, getting a little more in depth of how it's done and all of those things. But this is at a high level and how I back up all of my data. I like to dive in and show you the NAS and like to dive in and show you the folder structure and all of those things, but this video would be a long time if I was to show you all of that. So I hope I gave you valuable information. This information is very important to what we do every day as wedding photographers, videographers, anything that we're creating for someone else. We want to make sure that we have it. It's very important. I know that we don't think about it all the time, but if we don't, we need to start. This is one of the most important things that we can do for our couples, is make sure that their data is safe. So going to be doing a lot more videos on some other gear, some other reviews, some other tutorials on all kinds of stuff for wedding photographers, videographers, you know, anyone who's creating content for other people. It's going to be a lot more videos coming following this one. So subscribe below, and I'd like to know your process, what you use, how you do it, and how you back up your client's your couple's data. So let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to hearing from you. Peace.